And we kick it off this hour with the growing border crisis. President Biden announcing plans to nominate Harris County, Texas Sheriff Ed Gonzalez to lead immigration and customs enforcement. Gonzalez was a major critic of the Trump administration's policies, who slammed the former president's deportation and border security efforts. Joining me right now to talk more about the situation at the border and the interior of our country, the Attorney General of Texas, Ken Paxton. General Paxton, it's great to see you. Thanks very much for having us here in Texas and for joining me this morning.
Welcome to Texas and welcome to the border.
What an incredible situation that we are witnessing on the ground. What do you have to say in terms of where we are right now? Let's start there.
It's a disaster. I've spent a lot of time down here the last couple of days talking to sheriffs that have to deal with this. I've talked to Border Patrol. I've talked to Customs and Immigration. I've talked to our own state police. And it's a disaster. And when you go see some of these facilities and you see these kids that are sitting there wondering, like, what's going to happen to them, where are they going? They're all confined together with, possibly spreading COVID. It's a disaster.
So you've been to a lot of these facilities. You tried to go visit the Donna facility, where many people, including Senator Ted Cruz and other senators, have told us that the capacity, because of COVID, is 250 people. There are more than 4,000 people in that facility. What happened when you went there?
So we were turned down. So we were.
You're the Attorney General. You were turned down.
They do not want me to see the Donna facility, and that's straight from Washington. From officials in Washington have directed that because of COVID, I shouldn't be allowed into the facility.
I mean, that's incredible. And Kamala Harris, the vice president, says, look, one answer would be to send $310 million to the Northern Triangle countries. What do you think about that answer? Send them money to encourage them not to come.
I would much rather than send that money to the border here and help people here as opposed to sending it there. The money's going to be lost to politicians and drug cartels. That makes no sense at all. That's just a loss of money and a loss of opportunity to help people here in Texas.
So let me just show people where we are for a second. Rob, right over my shoulder is Mexico. That's the outskirts of Reynosa. I mean, if I jumped on a boat right now, it'll take me about 3 minutes to get there. This seems awfully easy.
Yeah, I mean, it is, and there are places that are even easier than this. The water's more shallow; people can just walk across, don't even have to swim. So yeah, it is. It's very easy, especially if you know you're not going to be deported when you come in.
So we have new information this morning on sanctuary cities. The Justice Department moving to repeal a policy from the Trump administration that withheld grant money from cities and states that refused to comply with the sanctuary laws. What are your thoughts here? What is the overriding policy that we are lifting restrictions on sanctuary cities? Obviously, the Biden administration overturned all of the Trump border policies. What do you think's behind all of this?
So they're ignoring federal law as well. I mean, federal law says that his job as president is to follow federal law, which is you have to deport these people. So basically, they're saying to us they don't like what Congress passed and that they are going to create their own rules about border security, and that basically everybody's welcome. There is no border security. There is no more immigration policy in law that they're going to follow. They're going to just do what they want to do.
But the Department of Homeland Security is now saying that it will launch a new operation to combat trafficking and smuggling at the border. This new effort will be led by Customs and Border Protection, according to DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. What do you think that's about?
Well, see, that doesn't make sense to me either, because they're so occupied with dealing with the number of immigrants coming in here, they can't even do that job. They have a high percentage of their people are now working at these facilities, doing logistics, transportation, and so they're not even on the border. The cartels know that it's open for business. If anybody's making a lot of money on this, it's the cartels, because they're charging these people minimum of $4,000 per person to come up here, and then they're making money on drugs and smuggling, because now the border is so porous. It's open for them to make just large sums of money. Yeah,
I mean, I was talking to one agent. He said that heroin up 5,000%, fentanyl up 6,000%. I mean, the numbers are incredible, and the drug cartels are making billions.
Yeah, it's a huge opportunity for them because they're making money on all sides of this, and the Biden administration knows this, and that's what's shocking is that they are allowing and really aiding the cartels in making these large sums of money and importing drugs and human trafficking.
So, what about Mr. Gonzalez? Any thoughts there in terms of this nomination for ICE? Many guests have come on this program and said, look, ICE has been effectively shut down.
Yeah, and that's part of, and the fact that he was so critical of deportation, which is federal law, and so critical of our laws and critical of what Trump did actually was working. I mean, he had a long-term plan, which is the wall. He was using that program where he kept people in Mexico that were claiming asylum because most of them didn't qualify. Those programs work. He let Border Patrol and Customs and Immigration do their job. Those policies all worked, and what the Biden administration did was said, hey, those work. We don't want those to work. We're going to undo every single one of them, and they are. And, of course, we're getting the results of that right now.
One of my sources said, look, no wonder Kamala Harris doesn't want to come down here. The bottom line is that the mainstream media follows her everywhere she goes. So if she comes here, the mainstream media will come here, and then they will be forced to show it on their nightly broadcast.
Right. They do not want the president or the vice president here because they don't want the American people. They don't want you to know what's going on the border. They don't want you talking to local law enforcement, sheriffs, whoever. They don't want the story out, so they're not going to draw attention to it. They're not going to come here. That's why they don't want reporters. That's why they don't want state officials in their facilities, because they don't want us to know what's going on.
Have you communicated with the vice president at all? Has anyone from the administration reached out to you or the governor?
Not that I know of. Certainly not me. I'm not aware that the governor has had those conversations either.
You have been really the leading AG in terms of pushing back, filing lawsuits against this administration for blowing off federal law. Let's talk about the COVID-related one, because nearly 2,900 unaccompanied minors that are being held in border facilities have tested positive for COVID-19 over the last year. Tell me about this, the threat, and what you'd like to see.
Yeah, so there were restrictions put on immigration as it related because of COVID. I mean, it made sense. The president put those in place. They followed the procedures, and then President Biden just undid them, which I think is very hypocritical and puts my state and other states at risk. Because when these families come in and they spread it around the detention facility, and then they get sent out to other places, not just Texas, but all over the country. So here we are trying to open up our state, and they are creating a risk that we'll have a further outbreak of COVID and not be able to open our state up the way we want to.
When we were last night, we were with Border Protection, and we saw the buses coming, picking up migrants. They put them in the bus. Then what? What's happened? They get processed. Tell me where these people are going.
So we don't know everywhere they're going. They don't communicate with us. We assume they're going to some of these facilities, but then we hear stories that they're being flown around the country to other places. But they are
their destination of choice.
Yeah. So we don't know. All we know is that a lot of these people are being released, and we don't know where they're going.
Because they're being told, come back for a court date, and some are not being told to come back for a court date.
Yeah, so many of you use the asylum process. And look, I'm glad we have an asylum process, for people who are persecuted, but only about 14% of those that go through that process actually qualify for asylum. So the rest of them come here, and when under Trump, they were having to wait in Mexico or somewhere else. But now they're here, and they're being released into the public, and they're supposed to come back for their hearing, which we don't know when that hearing is going to be. It could be years, and they may never show up.
So somebody at the facility last night said to me they're trying to move things really quickly, as quickly as possible. They want to get them on the bus. They want to get them to the processing center under the bridge and get them out, just so that it doesn't look like it's overflowing, I guess. Is that the point? Just get them processed. Don't stop the flow. Just keep it moving.
Absolutely. I think that's got to be what's going on. And if you'll think about this happened on day one of Biden's administration. Why didn't they propose a plan? Why didn't they think through this? I think they wanted to create massive chaos and massive immigration and catch everybody off guard and just do it. And that's what's happening. And it's continuing. It's going to continue as long as the American people put up with it.
Well, what kind of assistance are you getting from the federal government? I mean, I noticed that you've got some patrolmen here, patrolmen and women armed. These are state officers.
Yes.
These are not federal officers. Do you have any help from the federal government, given that your state is on the front lines here?
Liz, I'm super impressed with Border Patrol, with Customs and Immigration, what they're trying to do, but they are being, one, told not to talk to the media about what's actually going on. They're not being allowed to do their job. So those guys, I'm so impressed with them. They really want to do their jobs. They care about this country. But as state officers, as our state police, they have no authority to stop people from coming across the border. We can arrest people for violating state law, but if they commit federal crimes or they just come across the border, there's nothing we can do. We're not empowered to do anything.
But there's one area in Big Bend with 10 agents for 120 miles of border. Single white males are crossing. It's a big opportunity for criminals. Tell me about those Border Patrol people, because I was told many are retiring, and the Biden administration they're not planning on replacing them. Do you have enough manpower?
Oh, I don't. There's no way we have enough manpower, especially given given that so many of them are occupied with dealing with these families in these detention centers. They've been moved over into more logistics, transportation, and taking care of these kids. And so we're losing the ability, and the cartel knows this, and it's part of the plan. The cartel has so many more opportunities to do what they want to do, and Biden administration has basically handed this to them on a silver platter.
Yeah, I mean, one of the officers told me last night across the river, he said, well, there are definitely people watching us right now in the brush,
right,
in the bushes, because they're standing there waiting to see when the coast is clear. Mm-hmm. And what about the wall? Some of the walls go all the way up to 30 feet. Some are 18 feet. Some are 14 feet. You've got these cartel members dropping babies over the wall.
Yeah, it's amazing. The wall was such a good plan. You've seen it. It's hard to get over. There's technology that even if you got over, that they would know you were there. And we've just stopped building it. We're spending millions of dollars every day paying contractors who are doing nothing because it's been completely stopped. And it was only supposed to be stopped, I think, for 60 days, but we're still stopped. There's still no more wall being built. They got 21 miles built. There's 89 miles more that they had planned on building. That would make a significant difference on this, and it's just not getting done.
But I mean, take a second and think about what we're saying here. We are spending more than $5 trillion in stimulus just in the last month and a half. When you look at the $1.9 trillion, the $2.25 trillion, quote unquote, infrastructure, and now this new $1.8 trillion package we're going to hear about tonight, defense spending is being cut. And you're not seeing any aid here at the border. So the priorities in terms of spending, more than $5 trillion in a month and a half, defense spending cut, no money for the border.
It's sickening because you're talking about the national security of the country, protecting the country. And by the way, when they were building these walls, they had to tear down the levees to protect from flooding from the Rio Grande. And so they were going to replace that with the wall, and it would also work as a levee. Now, a lot of that's been torn down, and because they stopped the project, if we have flooding, it's going to cause devastation that we can't stop now.
And this is, the numbers are going up in terms of the cost here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think this is going to come up tonight in the president's joint session to Congress?
It should, but as to whether it will, I mean, I would guess he doesn't want to talk about it.
Unbelievable. AG Ken Paxton, thanks very much.
Yeah, thanks
for being here. Thanks for your leadership, and of course, we'll continue to spotlight this.
Thank you for coming here.
Thank you.